Welcome to the Moving Picture Studio. James Marsh, you're here with Project NIM. First of all, congratulations on the film. Did you know that it had an outlet already, that HBO were going to be showing the film while you were making it? Or was
No,
something
that came quite very recently, in fact, that they saw the film and wanted to acquire it for North American rights, and that was a very timely endorsement, I guess, of the film itself. They saw the finished film, and we'd been in touch a little bit, in the course of making the film. So that was a kind of nice kind of boost to us just when we were finishing it up.
The obvious first question also is, when did you become aware of this story? I mean, Nim died in 2000, and I certainly didn't know much about it myself. And so did you know?
I was
about
dimly
it?
aware of the language experiment, sort of in an anecdotal kind of way. But it came about through a book that was written about Nim's life that my producer, Simon Chin, kind of encountered and then sent my way whilst I was shooting a film called Red Riding, which is a very different kind of proposition than a documentary about a chimpanzee. And I read it on set. I was reading it at night when I finished shooting, and I just really blasted through the book very quickly and thought this is a really interesting challenge for a filmmaker to tell the life story of an animal, using some of the biographical techniques you might use for a person, but applying them to an animal. And I thought immediately of this Bresson movie called Au hasard Balthazar, which is the story of a donkey that you see change hands. You see the whole life story of this donkey play out, and it's a Bresson movie. It's very sort of different from Project Nim, and I'm not Bresson by any means, but it felt like a very interesting kind of challenge to try and to bring people to through that experience of an animal's life, and also to understand a bit more about his behaviour. So it's like a behavioural biography. You really see how a chimpanzee is, I think, in our film.
Right.
And so there are lots of cliches about chimpanzees and how much they're like us and blah, blah, blah. But this film tries to kind of really understand their behaviour as it emerges in this very strange human environment that he finds himself in.
The film takes an emotional toll on the audience as well. Even writing my questions, remembering the scenes from the film, I was choked up because of how powerful the emotive element is in this film and what you feel for Nim. How much of an emotional toll did the process of the film take on you, or has it over time dissipated?
Well, clearly when you're making a film, the emotional world of the film is the first and foremost interest you have, and so when I was reading the book, you began to feel really sorry for his predicament and the fact that he had no freedom. He was born in captivity, and the story unfolds as he's part of a language experiment, and we're trying to make him like us. It's a very interesting experiment on that level, and the sort of theme of nature and nurture is a very important part of our story. But emotionally, chimpanzees have emotions, and we see that in the film. They laugh, they cry, they crave affection, they can bully you. They have emotions that are clearly recognizable, and that's not me projecting onto them. And that's the big mistake that so many people make about primates, is that we think they're more like us than they actually are. But I think the film hopefully does show you how he feels about what's going on to him, what's being done to him at certain points. And he's often very bewildered by the fact that we are, on one hand, we're trying to make him like us, and we're, pampering him and being his friend. And later on, when he becomes more himself, we can't handle him anymore, and that becomes his destiny in a way. He's hardwired to behave a certain way, and we can't really accommodate that.